So navigating around the console is pretty simple. There are some navigation buttons here on the right side. We have our snapshot buttons. So these are not the same as the Waves snapshots. These snapshots help us move between the different components of the service. So if we go right back to the beginning, we have our pre-service, which is just music going to the stream. As you can see here, the local playback fader is up. Everything else is down. So at the cue of the broadcast director, when it's time to begin the pre-show, you'll get a countdown, and at 2 seconds out, you'll want to hit the next snapshot button. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and as you can see, the music level comes down and the host mic comes up, and now the pre-show is in full swing. Of course, you may need to make adjustments, but this gets you in the ballpark to start. After that, we'll have our bumper video as the pre-show concludes. So same thing, you'll wait for a cue from the broadcast director, and then 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and now another fader comes up, which is our video playback, and so the video will play. And then finally, as the countdown is ending, you'll need to transition to the stage. So in the same way, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and this brings down all of our studio playback, all of our extra playback that's going on, and now it brings the stage up, and you're ready to mix the service. So these are your snapshot navigation buttons. After that, we have our layer up and layer down buttons, and layer buttons just help us move between the different parts of the console. To the left of that, we have the spill set button, and what this will do is recall all of our vocal mics and a couple of instruments, no matter what layer you're on. Of course, we want to be able to grab mics quickly and unmute them, so this spill set will quickly recall your mics. If the button is lit blue, it means the spill set is active. If it's dimmed, it means it isn't. So if you see a layer that isn't going away, no, the console isn't broken. It's just that your spill set is open. Below that is the overview button, and you shouldn't really have to access this during a service, but it does give you an overall view, as the name would suggest, of everything that's going on the console, all of our ins and outs. And again, if it's lit, it means it's activated. If it's not lit, it means it's not activated. You can also hit the close button on the console to get rid of it. So we're going to go right to the top, and because this button isn't lit, it means we're at the very top, and walk through the various parts of the console. So we have the speaker and host mics. We have our 4 main vocal mics as well as 2 spares. Then we move into instruments. We've got bass, electric guitars. So it's the main electric guitar is stereo. We have electric 2 in case someone's playing that, as well as acoustic guitar, keys, the organ. So that's the organ high mic and the organ low mic. If we move down a layer, we have more of our drums. We have our kick in and kick out mics, which go to a kick group. We have our snare top, snare bottom, side snare, and sometimes we incorporate a snare sample, and all of that goes to the snare group again. So there are multiple mics, but we're treating it as one source with the group. Then we have our 4 tom mics, stereo overheads, hi-hats, and ride mic. Moving down another layer, we have all of our playback here from the stage. So that includes track 1, which is click. Obviously, we don't want that going to the stream, but we have track 2, which is a mono loop. And then track 3 and 4 are anything stereo, so whether that's pads or any sort of backing track. We also have our MD talkback in the event that you need to communicate with the music director. But again, this stays muted because we don't want to hear the talkback mic on the stream. Then we have our audience mics. This is one of the very cool aspects of mixing broadcast is we have 2 shotgun mics at the front of the stage, and that really allows us to hear the congregation as they sing and as they pray and as they even clap or say amen during the message, and it provides a lot of depth and dimension to the broadcast mix, and that's a key thing for mixing broadcast is we don't want it to feel flat and 2D. We want to make it as immersive as possible. Then to the right, we have all of our pre-show and video playback. So we have local playback, which is the Mac Mini. We have Pro Presenter 7, which is coming from downstairs. We have video playback, which is from the studio, as well as the graphics PC in case there's any additional video that's being played. If there is a video that is being played, we'll make it very clear what the input is and test it properly during the pre-service. We also have a host mic, which is from the studio next door. And then finally, we reach our sort of master layer, which has everything laid out, and you'll spend pretty much all of your time here mixing. So we have our kick control group, we have our toms, drums, shell compression. So the kick, snare, and toms are going to the shell compression. We have our bass group, keys group, which has main keys, second keys, organ, and the key reverb. Guitars, which has stereo electric, acoustic, electric 2, and the guitar reverb. All of our tracks and playback from Ableton. All of the vocals, so that includes vocal mics and speaker mics, as well as vocal reverb and delay. And then all of this goes to a band group, so you can grab the overall band mix and adjust it accordingly. Next is the audience mic VCA. So instead of having to move up all the time to the various layers, all of it is pretty much laid out on this master section. So this VCA can control the audience mics. Then we have our reverbs, a snare reverb, a drum reverb, an instrument reverb, guitar reverb, vocal reverb, and a vocal delay. To tap in the tempo, the tap is right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and now we've just tapped in our tempo. We also have a BGV control group, so that just has all the background vocals, and the 2 leads are also here. The master fader is here, and again, that stays at unity, which is 0 throughout the entire service. We never ride the master when we're mixing broadcast here. We'll ride groups, but never the master. Now, there is one more layer below, but you should never be here. This is just any sort of utility stuff like our effects sends and some VCAs that help with the snapshots. But again, you should never be on this section. This is where you're spending most of your time.